Why following your passion is bad career advice. July 22nd, 2013. Follow your passion is crappy advice. Why following your passion is pretty bad advice. August 1st, 2014. It is only bad advice when you get it when you're 25 or 30, not when you're 14 or 15 or 16. And even when you get it at 25 and 30, there's still something you can do about it. And so when we talk about passion and we understand what it can do for your life and what it really means, who's out there telling the world what passion really means? People think that it's bad advice because when you think about it, generally it's related to some success story or somebody or someone who loves what they do. And when you read about it, that's oftentimes the narrative that you get. But who's telling the world what it feels like to be passionate? Because passion is simply an emotion. It's actually a mix of emotions. And so once you understand what it really feels like to be passionate, then we can have a conversation about becoming passionate about your job or your career, or about your organizations, the thing that you do, your sports. And only then can we have that conversation. So my job is to teach you what passion is and what it feels like. And so we start with what they didn't tell you about going after your passion. Passion is an emotion, a feeling very strongly about a person. Passion is intense emotion. It is enthusiasm. It is desire. It is eager interest. It is requiring you to act, to do something about a cause, about a proposal, about something that you love, more importantly. And so when you think about the words that make up the word passion, it is literally all feelings. It is all feelings. It is all emotion. That's all it is. So how do you capture this emotion and put those emotions into something tangible, something that you can touch, something that you can feel, something that you can create? How do you do that? How do you do that, right? So I can almost guarantee that you've all felt passion before. And the best way I can describe to you is having you think back to the first day of school, probably this school year. So I want you to go back to the first day of school this school year, and actually I want you to take a step further back behind that. I want you to think about the night before the first day of school this school year. Some of you are thinking like, okay, what was I doing? What was I doing? You were getting your outfit ready, duh. Because that's what we all do. And once you picked out the outfit that you actually bought in June from Charlie Roos, and after you called all your friends and had that conversation about what you're gonna be doing or what you're wearing the next day, what happens is you get in bed that night, and very similar to the night before Christmas, or very similar to when you're watching the Olympics and somebody's singing the national anthem, there's some sort of emotion that's evoked. Sometimes you get goosebumps. Sometimes you can't sleep. Sometimes you're up all night. You're crying. Whatever the emotion and the feeling is that you have, you felt it before. And so my job is to try to figure out how I can connect you to the feeling of passion and the feeling that you had the night before the first day of school every single day for the rest of your life. Because that's the feeling that I have every opportunity I have to come speak to students about finding their passion. But not just students, but anybody about finding their passion. And so here's what we did. I was working with a group of students in New York City, and I work in a high school there. And I took about 10 students, and we went down to the lobby of our high school. And we started surveying the people in that lobby. It's a combination of teachers, security guards, after-school staff that are kind of hanging around in the lobby. And we asked them 2 questions. Have you ever been read the definition of the word passion 1, and 2, has anyone ever asked you what your passion is? Those are the 2 questions that we asked. And I had some freshmen with me. They're like, hey, we're talking about passion, like really kind of like nervous. But we ended up surveying 16 people. 16 people, all adults, no students. And of the 16 people that we interviewed and that we surveyed, 1 had ever been asked what their passion was, had ever been asked what they're passionate about. Me being Mr. Passion, blown away. I couldn't believe it. But then I really started thinking about it. It's like, you know what? That's the reason I'm here giving this talk. I can believe it because we don't raise bread, we don't build in the word passion into our vocabularies until you read it in a news article like this. And when you read it in this news article, it's talking about it's bad advice. And that's the first time in most cases that you see the word passion. So here's the most important thing that you need to take away from this, is that you felt it before. And as a 14 or 15 or 16 or 17-year-old student, you have the ability to choose. Because finding a passion is all about creating a mindset to believe that you literally can do whatever you want, when you want, and how you want to do it. And living in 2014 as a high school student, wow, you guys have power. You have power. There's this thing out there called the internet. Familiar? Familiar with it? There was a point in time when I was in high school, 2001, when there was a middleman for everything. You want to write a book? Got to find a publisher. You want to make a record? Got to find somebody to sign you to a record deal. You want to create a website? You got to learn how to buy a domain name, right? There was a point in time where nobody knew how to do those things. But you all live in a world now that you can literally get online and create and do and make. And passion is for you all. It is literally your time. Now is your time. And that's why this is such a beautiful thing. That's why this is such a beautiful thing. So understanding that when you can make decisions based on what you love all the time gives you more choice. It gives you a mindset to believe that you can literally do what you want, when you want, all the time. And more importantly, it gives you the opportunity to wake up every single day and wake up with that night before the first day of school feeling, right? So the Gallup poll came out and it said that $75,000 as an individual is all you need to be happy. $75,000 is all you need to be happy as an individual. So what we know as you get ready to graduate from high school and go into college, you're going to hear a lot of different things, and Dan mentioned this. You're going to hear a lot of different things about what the market needs, or what jobs are available, what degrees are going to pay you lots of money. And what I know is that if you only need $75,000 to be happy, anything above that does not have any effect on your happiness. And we know that once you get into a job, you're going to be making more, generally, throughout your life. Have you ever had a job that you got paid less? You got a lower raise? Yeah, that doesn't happen. So we know over time that we're eventually going to get to this number. And for the world we live in and for the skills that you all have now, you're going to get to that number, 75,000, a lot quicker. I'm 31. I'm above that number. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. Right? So you know that that is the number that says you are going to be happy or not. So what I'm asking you is think about how much happier you could be if you're doing something that you love and you're making that number. And the challenge is so many times we get our passions and our dreams and our creativity, we get them taken away from us and they get pulled away from us as we go through elementary school into middle school into high school. And then you go into college and then they want you to conform to a degree and do one thing. They want you to be an accountant or a teacher. But the cool thing about finding passions is that if you talk to anybody who was born before 1960, somebody who might be a grandparent, or somebody that might be a great-grandparent, and you listen to grandparents tell stories about the 96,000 jobs that they did in their life. Baby, you remember when, right? I worked at the radio station, and I was a teacher. They did all these things. And that doesn't exist, that mindset doesn't exist. So what I'm asking you to do is think about this, is why can't you be all the things that Gina talked about? Why can't you be a poet and a teacher and a speaker, doing all these things that you love around poetry or whatever that you love, and they all pay you to get to that number here, which equals happiness, and it's all the things that you love in your life. It only makes sense to me. It only makes sense to me. So, Beyonce. Right? Beyonce. Everybody looks at Beyonce and they say, you know what? I want to live like Beyonce. I want to do what Beyonce does. I want to be a famous singer. And the challenge with that is that everyone is too concerned about living the lifestyle as opposed to putting in the work to do what Beyonce has done. I can almost guarantee that none of you are willing to work that hard to get to where Beyonce is. And if you are, props to you, right? Props to you. So Beyonce is a worker before she is a singer. She works incredibly hard, very similar to our drummer here that was just killing it, right? Every day is what it takes. Every single day is what it takes. So I have a student that I work with in New York City, and I'm a dream director in a high school. And before I met this student, from what I understand of her, she was somebody that was looking to do nursing. She wanted to be a nurse. But when I started having conversations with her about her passions and her dreams, that's not what she was talking about. She was talking about fashion and fashion shows and modeling. So how do you go from fashion shows and modeling and all that to nursing? Didn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense to me. She's getting ready to graduate, and she just walked into my office last week and she said, I'm gonna go to school for fashion design. Not only that, she went and interviewed with a modeling agency last week, got it. Not only that, next Thursday, she's putting on a fashion show in our high school. When you indulge yourself in your passion and the things that you love, things continue and will be able to go the way that you want them to based on the things that you love. And that's the importance of this, of Beyonce's example. She gives you you get the opportunity to do what you love all the time. And the positivity that comes from that. So, what am I doing about it? I want to share with you all real quick. I moved to New York City last summer to work as a dream director, and had an opportunity to work with some of the most amazing people in the country, to work in a high school to create dreams and passions and make those things come true for students. And while I was there, back in February, we had an event here in Omaha.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it, screams from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. You guys ready? Yeah!
We have this downtown Omaha in the library. We gathered 40 students, professionals, people that I know that care about finding your passion, and we hit the streets of Omaha. We asked people, what is your passion? Has anybody ever asked you what it is? We took pictures with white dry erase boards, and we talked to over 100 people. And even then still, we were 50%. Half had ever been asked what their passion was, half were not. And then after that, we took drummers, bass percussion, the guys that are down doing the College World Series, drumming all over the place. We took those guys and we went to the library. We took all the students that were there with them, and we had a passion expose. We had beatboxers and rappers and dancers and poets, and everyone had a chance to share their passion, just like that video talked about. And so one of the ideas I want to give to you all is something to think about is what if the library, the public library, becomes not a place where you go to look at books or get on the internet, but as my fellow dream director Divine calls it, it becomes a soul mall, right? It becomes a place where you go to learn how to break dance and sing, and you can mix music, and you can do all the things that you love in a library. How dope would that be, right? Dope. And the last idea I'm going to share with you is the idea of the dream director. And the idea of a dream director is very simple. I'm put in a school to help every single student and every single faculty member in that school discover what their passions are, figure out what their dreams are, and help put those dreams and those passions in motion, period. And so that's what I'm doing about it. This is the new role. This is the new person that is needed in the school to unlock the passions and the dreams of every single individual in there, so every single one of you can wake up every single morning with the night before the first day of school feeling of desire, of enthusiasm, of eagerness, and more importantly, of love. Thank you.